Welcome to my conversation with Meghan Buchanan. Meghan is my good friend. She has achieved such wonderful things, and tell about your latest achievement, which very few people have been able to do.
Yeah, super excited. Summited Mount Everest, 29,030 feet on May 12th of this year. So back in the United States now, but all of it's still sinking in. What happened and yeah, it's lovely after so much work prepping for Everest for 3 years. Finally hit the summit and very glad.
Not this year, but the year before, you missed out on summiting by one day, right?
By a couple days. We were ready to leave for Summit Bid, which is from base camp. You leave to go up through, Icefall Camp 1, Camp 2, South Cole to Summit. But hours before we were ready to leave, and we had our weather window to go, our entire Sherpa climbing crew came down with COVID. And so everyone was ordered off the mountain. And yeah, after being on the mountain for 7 weeks, going through rotations and climbing, it was canceled. And the year before that, I had trained all year and I didn't even get to go because that's when COVID hit. So I've been training for 3 years for Everest. And so, yay, finally
So
completed.
there was an outbreak of COVID just about the time that you were leaving, and I was really worried about whether they were going to cancel you again. But you had smooth sailing.
Luckily, this year felt so different. Last year, it was just one thing after another going wrong for us, and we just kept pushing through, trying to make it happen. This year, everything felt so right. Even as you do the hike from Lukla to base camp, you visit, monasteries, and you receive blessings, and even the blessings felt different. Lady Everest was like, no, this is your year, you're good. But no, most all the Nepalese is here and the people on the mountain were vaccinated, so that helped tremendously. There were still climbers, and people did get COVID this year, and it stopped them from going up, but it wasn't as severe as last time, and it wasn't as deadly as last time. What was interesting this year, though, is there are many climbers, some that I know, that they were having major altitude issues this year and had to be evacuated out. They think because of COVID after effects. Their body, they might have had COVID 3 months ago, 6 months ago, but their body was not functioning as it normally does. So people who have been climbing, who are experienced, we're just having some major issues with acclimatizing this year. They think because of COVID.
Now, your goal is the seven summits.
Oh, more than that, the seven summits and the North and South Pole. So the
Okay, so
Grand Slam.
how much more do you have to go?
Not much. So I will have this November going to Indonesia. Will be Carson's Pyramid. So that will be the seventh summit for me. And then
Good.
next spring will be the last degree ski to the North Pole. And that will complete the Explorers Grand Slam for me because I've already done the South Pole. And that is one only 12 women have ever done.
That's so exciting.
It's exciting, but we'll see. With the North Pole, usually logistics are run by Russia. So they were closed this year. So now they've got to figure out, the community has to figure out who's going to run the logistics if Russia isn't coming with their planes. So there is always a chance that it might not be open for us to go do this year, just like many people I know who have also the goal of the seven summits. If they haven't already climbed Elbrus in Russia, it's going to be a while till they can go and do that. So Russia is
Wow.
not letting, especially Americans, in. So,
Right.
yeah.
So, if you accomplish all that, you'll be one of 12 other women who have done this.
Well, I'll
Uh,
probably be 13. Yes. And then
13.
hopefully,
Lucky 13.
I know I'm lucky. Well, and I hope to be doing the North Pole with a really good friend of mine, Lucy River Bulks. She is UK. She has done, and she did Vincent and the South Pole with me last year. We hope to do the North Pole together, and then we will both be, we'll tie for the 13th place
Oh,
for
that's
women.
cool.
Yeah, it'll be really, really nice. She's an amazing athlete also, and it'd be just be fun. We're trying to do an all-female ski. And then from there, I'll start working on possibly the Adventurers Grand Slam, which is the longer. I have to redo the ski to the North and South Pole. It's the longer version from the coast, and that is a much bigger operation. And I believe, only two women have ever done that Grand Slam. No
Uh-huh.
U.S. women. So that's what I'll start working on. But I'll be really happy to finish the Explorers Grand Slam.
So, out of the 12 women, how many were Americans?
Four, four U.S. women.
Okay.
Mhm.
And the other eight?
They come from the UK, Australia, China. I think there's a Swedish woman, so kind of all over, international.
Okay.
Mhm.
So, when did you decide I'm going to do this? How long ago?
Oh gosh, I've been doing this for years. I mean, I really decided on the seven summits, probably after I climbed Aconcagua in South America,
Uh-huh.
which is 23,000 feet. It was great. I had a great experience. None of these are easy, but it didn't, it was easy, and like it felt great. So I
Uh-huh.
remember I was sipping wine in Mendoza afterwards, and I really started thinking of how I had gotten to that point in my life after a horrendous snowboarding accident where they told me I'd have a cane the rest of my life. And I said, nope. And then overcoming dyslexia as a little kid to become an engineer. This whole thing about grit, which is my sweatshirt here, the
Uh-huh.
GGRIT. It was really resonating with me, and I was sipping wine and met a woman who had the Aconcagua was her seventh summit. She was only 29, and so she started talking to me about it because I had never thought about really doing Everest before. I had done base camp, but she was talking me through it, and she's like, if that altitude wise was easy for you, she's like, you could do this. She's like, go train and go do Denali, and if you can do Denali, you can do Everest. She's like, you've got the mindset for it. So that's when I decided, all right, I'm going to up my game, start gaining the skills, transition from a hiker, a trekker, into a climber. Really started working on all my skills with ice climbing, rock climbing, everything I needed to do. And I went and climbed Denali and summited that first attempt. And at that point, I was locked in, and that's when I started training for Everest. And then I decided somewhere along the lines of, you know what, the seven summits isn't good enough. I've got to do something that breaks some boundaries for women. So that's when I started researching the Grand Slam, and then figured, all right, that's what I'm doing.
So, since you did not accomplish it last year, tell everybody listening to this and watching this, what did it feel like to summit Everest?
I keep getting, I so wish it was this amazing aha moment of relief and gratitude, but it wasn't. The actual summit was very chaotic. We had an early summit window. A lot of us who all couldn't do it last year. I mean, everyone was going that day, and it was a lot of people up there. You need to make sure you were roped in, or clipped into the rope line and safe, do your pictures. And then there were tons of people coming up. We needed to get down. So I was very much in climbing mode, and like, oh wow, this is really okay, this is really cool, I'm here now, let's get down. And it is a huge effort. Once you summit, you have to get through the single path of other people, down that whole ridge, and then get down to the South Pole, rest for a couple hours, get your stuff, then go down to Camp 3, get your stuff you left there, and get all the way back to Camp 2. And that is all in the same day you just summited, and you left at like 9 p.m. the night before. So it is a very long, exhausting day.
Mm-hmm.
So the actual summit was like, okay, cool. Now let's get down safe.
Oh, wow.
So afterwards, how I'm feeling is it just takes a while. It's taken a while to really set in that you work for something so long for 3 years. My life was consumed with it. And so on a Saturday morning, you wake up and instantly, 6 a.m., like, oh, I got to get going. I got to go hike. And I'm like, well, I don't really have to go hike. So, so anyway, I've transitioned back, but no, I'm now it's set in the lessons about myself and what the purpose of this journey was are really starting to come out now. And yeah, I mean, I'm just really I'm really happy that all the hard work and dedication paid off, and doing the right thing, gaining the skills, putting in the work to belong on that mountain paid off, and that's really gratifying to me. That moment in time of all the work you put into something
Mm-hmm.
comes to fruition. And I think that as the months go by and I start prepping for my next climb, my gratitude and understanding of what it really meant to stand on the top will just keep coming to back up to the surface, and I'll be able to enjoy it more, because it will have finally kind of my brain will have caught up with what finally happened.
See, this year you posted on Instagram and not Facebook. So I had to call my friend Sean to say, did she send it yet? Did she send it yet? And he would follow you on Instagram, and he would let me know how, what your progress is. But you
uh,
didn't put anything too much on Facebook this year.
I did actually, unfortunately. And so I'm working with this amazing team that really helped me with my social media while I was gone. I brought them on right before I left for Everest. So there were a couple of gaps in there. I have a grit page on Facebook
Okay.
instead of my personal. So we were posting on the grit page.
Oh, okay.
And they did put something on my Facebook that said, hey, follow me over here. And I just don't think enough people saw that. So it is, there is my grit page on Facebook now. So it's Team Grit, GGRIT. And so that's where everything was being posted. So sorry about
Okay.
that.
When, like I said right before we started filming this, I I was introduced to rock climbing a couple of weeks ago, and I spoke to a fellow in a wall climbing place, and wall climbing and rock climbing is so different than any other sport, because like if you run or if you bike or if you row, it's the same motions over and over again. But with climbing a wall or a mountain or a rock, it takes a lot of concentration. He said it's like a puzzle.
It's a puzzle.
Everything is different. So
Yeah.
you work your mind as well as your body. And I think that's really exciting. So an athlete who's a mountaineer like you, it's never boring because it's different all the time, right?
It is, and that's a really good example of things like for the Everest climb, you're in mixed format constantly. Like even you're on crampons, there's time you have to actually be on rock and ice, and there's so you need to kind of be well versed in dirt, in snow, so that you can navigate through it. And the ice fall changes constantly. So when I do a big rotation, I go up through the ice fall, I'll come back down maybe 5 days later. The terrain has changed. Because it is a moving glacier, things will collapse. And the ice doctors, or what they're called, and they go in this elite group of Nepalese that go through, and they will make new routes if one has been ended. So when you come back down, you have a totally new route. So you've got to be ready for it, for anything. As stuff melts away, maybe you were rappelling down something before, but now where your 2 feet are supposed to go is much wider apart, and you're like, how on earth am I going to do this? Or jumping over crevasses. And so
Mhm.
yeah, you are very much in the present, and you need to be in the present to increase your chances of safety as well. So that is something that is very exciting about climbing and mountaineering, is that ability or something that allows you to focus just where it is like a very strenuous and dangerous meditation, but you are absolutely in the present and thinking just about, what is at hand and the obstacles you need to overcome, and everything else melts away, which I think is probably why a lot of us do it, because we love that sensation, and you miss it when you're off the mountain on a regular life. You miss that being present.
So you do wall climbing in gyms to keep up with your stamina and strength, right?
So when I split time between California and Colorado, so when I am in Long Beach, yes, I will go to a climbing gym here and there just to keep my skills up. When I'm in Colorado in the summer, I will actually go out and climb with friends.
Mhm.
Or when I was learning, there's a Glenwood Springs uh, mountaineering, and a gentleman, Michael, who taught me really how to technically rock climb. And so a lot of times I'll go with him and some buddies, and yeah, we actually climb outdoors, which I prefer.
So would you say that the percentage of people who are into physical fitness and do mountain climbing and rock climbing is only a small percentage of the people who are into keeping their bodies strong and healthy?
Probably mountaineering is a niche. Anyone can, luckily, if like if you live near mountains, if you can get some, hiking boots or tennis shoes, that's something that's free and access to most people. You can go do that. But when you really start to get into the technical portion of mountaineering and climbing and rock climbing and ice climbing, there are expenses with that, with gear. Then if you want to start climbing really big mountains, there's an expense with that. And so I think it's an expensive, it can be inexpensive or very expensive. So luckily you have options, but like to go climb Everest, that's very expensive with the permits and everything to be able to
Right.
go and climb that.
So when did you overcome your fear of looking at a high mountain and saying, "Oh my God, I don't know if I could do this"?
I don't think I ever had that fear. um
Okay.
but a fear of, or doubt or not knowing. I mean, I remember years and years ago when I did the trek to Everest base camp, and someone had asked me, would you ever climb Everest? I was like, heck no, I'm not climbing Everest. The thought of it then was it was unattainable. I'm not skilled to go climb that mountain. I have no business being on that mountain. I can hike, but then, as like anything else, you start working at things little bit, one bite at a time, one step at a time. And so years had passed, and my skill level had changed, and to a point where, like I said, that conversation I had in Mendoza, where I was like, maybe I could belong on that mountain. And so you just, I think anything you're working on, any goal you have, take it into bite-sized pieces, and you just gnaw away at it until one day you get to a point where you're like, that is attainable. I need to do all this work to get there. And you keep moving and you keep going until you are ready, and you reach the top of your goal. So I always tell people too that that's what you've got to look at. Lots of little milestones, one step at a time. Don't focus on how do I get there from here. You have a whole bunch of work to do before you get there.
So, you and I have talked over the past couple of years, and you overcame dyslexia, and you're a rocket scientist. So, you've achieved goals. You've been outside your comfort zone for quite a while. For,
Yes.
for, and, nobody, I shouldn't say that. People, people might say, "Oh, gee, I'd like to climb Everest," or "I'd like to do the seven summits," or even if I say, "Oh, I'd like to climb a mountain," what do you tell those people?
To do it. I mean, again, start local, start with something attainable. I think it's important to set yourself up for success. in the very beginning to help, if you need help building that motivation to keep going. Because whenever you do anything new, there's a lot of frustration because we're taught as children, as adults, that we need to be perfect, we can't make mistakes. But when you're growing and pushing yourself, you're constantly making mistakes. That is the whole thing. And that feeling of vulnerability is extremely uncomfortable for people.
Mm-hmm.
So again, saying like, as an adult, when I decided, okay, I need to up my game to be able to climb the mountains that I have the goal for. So I was brand new at rock climbing. I was brand new at ice climbing. And there were very frustrating days and bruises and me feeling like, oh my God, I'm so bad at this. But you make the choice to keep moving forward. So if someone wants to start, it is like you did last year, you did stairs, the equivalent of
I'm
climbing
still
Everest.
doing it.
Yes, perfect. Or I know some states don't have a lot of mountains, but you start with a hill where you're at. Maybe a vacation you take is go to Colorado and climb one of their 14ers, which is easy access, great trails. There's beginner to, so start pushing your comfort zone
Mm-hmm.
and that's how you grow and that's how you get better and always have a little bit bigger goal of what you want to do next. And that's for any obstacle or any goal you have, running a 5K into eventually running a marathon. It's the
Mm-hmm.
same sort of thing.
So, mountain climbing and that kind of thing, it's mental as well as physical, right?
Oh yeah, huge mental. Yeah.
Uh-huh. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think the majority of it is you mentally have to be like Everest is about 2 months long. And again, you go through these rotations, you'll go through very hard stuff. You have to go all the way back down to base camp and be psyched up to go do it again. Your body will hurt. You will emotionally question yourself. You are maybe away from your support group, your family.
Mm-hmm.
There is so much that you go through that you need to be able to push through. Your body is pissed at you. People have issues constantly with digestion, gastrointestinal. You have to be mentally strong enough to be in great discomfort and keep moving forward.
Mm.
And I think that's something that honestly comes with experience, comes with age, comes with learning to struggle and endure. That
Mhm.
is what a lot of mountaineering is.
I think people in this country are not used to struggling. Would you say that's correct?
Yes and no. Yeah, I mean, in general, there are a lot of people. I think we're kind of taught here. There is a pill to fix everything. We should never feel pain. We should never feel discomfort. I think, like, I get people raising their kids. Well, I don't want them to go through what I went through for like having to get a job and do all these different things. But I think that what you're denying kids from learning is that toughness, how to push through obstacles and challenge. I'm very grateful that I got to learn that as a kid. That has
Mhm.
set me up for who I am today. So whenever there's a challenge, I don't even question it. I'm like, well, this might hurt for a little while, but we're going to get through it.
Mhm.
um, so I do think that willingness to be vulnerable, to be frustrated, to feel some pain, that's I don't know who lives a life without feeling pain emotionally or physically. Or
Right.
I just think to think that we should never feel that is setting yourself up for disappointment.
Mhm. So we have a couple of minutes left. Tell everybody about your organization.
Yeah, so grit, which is gratitude, growth, resilience, integrity, and tenacity. To me, those are the 5 things I have found can get you through any challenge or obstacle and help you reach your full potential, and learn to love yourself. I speak to companies, I speak to groups, but really everything I go through career wise, mentally, mountaineering, I've applied these tools and it has allowed me to lead just a really exciting journey in this life. So I have yet, like we talked about, to finish the Grand Slam, and then there'll be something after that. But Carson's Pyramid will be in November, and then hopefully North Pole. And through that, I really especially hope to inspire women. to I can't believe how few women have been able to do it. And so I'm just really excited to move that marker a little bit further for women and inspire all women to get out there and do what they are passionate about.
So, anybody who wants to join your organization, how could they do so?
Well, my website and my Instagram is GGRIT. And send me a note. I would love to hear from you, love to hear your experiences. One of the things I'm also very, very involved with too is helping to inspire youth that are dyslexic or have learning differences. So definitely reach out to me about that. It's extremely important. I had very supportive parents who believed in me, and it's really important that especially kids and adults have that support system around them, knowing that they can absolutely become a rocket scientist or whatever they want to become.
So, your sister, she kept track of your progress in California, right?
Yes, yeah. My sister is we actually live together. This is our house. And we raised a little dog together. But no, my sister is an amazing support. She follows actually one of the owners of the company, Climbing the Seven Summits I climb with. She's in Australia. She called my sister when I was on the summit of Everest to tell her that I was
Wow,
standing there at that very moment. So yeah,
that's
my
great.
sister's like my best support. And my mom. You'll have to watch Cynthia on one of my videos, and it is on Facebook. But at the summit, I did dedicate the climb to my mother because she is the one who taught me strength in my life, and I totally like choke up on it. But my mom's just an amazing, strong woman who has supported me through everything.
That's great. I
Yeah,
know you've got to run and go to
I know
meetings.
I got another meeting. I
Yeah.
gotta work.
So, you've been listening to Meghan Buchanan, who did Mount Everest, which is amazing. So, if you like this show, please subscribe to my YouTube page. Megan, it's always a pleasure to
Always a
talk to you,
pleasure. All
and
right.
we'll
I love
talk
your glasses,
soon.
by the way. So cute.
We'll talk soon.
Talk soon.